Hi everyone, this is John Pater speaking, and today I'd like to speak about the evolution of humanity, its first beginnings. So although self is the ultimate reality, we as human beings live in maya or aspects of self, and we are evolving to ever higher levels of perfection. So by understanding humanity's journey from the distant past, we can see what underlies our present existence, as the past still works on, even today, in important characteristics. But these effects are barely noticeable and understandable. Yet, we've got to make a start, even if it's just a small beginning. So questions like, why are we born to be unsatisfied? And hence we seek knowledge. Why are there so many interpersonal differences? What is our future? And so on. These questions can now be understood through understanding our evolution. Contained within this picture is also the evolution of those invisible higher beings which are connected with us as humanity. Today, we have self-consciousness, feelings and sensations. We have life and physical body. But at one stage, there was only self, endless beingness, with no time or space or physical laws, just pure awareness of the infinite. From out of self, humanity and the spiritual world gradually arose. We can describe processes as though they are in time, so that they can be understood. But one thing is necessary, is that you have an openness to new concepts and processes. Otherwise, this description won't be that useful. Now, there are 7 major stages or incarnations of the Earth, which constitute our human existence, which can be called planetary conditions. So you can see 7 circles, and you can see our Earth. We are currently in the 4th stage, which is the middle. There will be 3 more to come, and 3 have already taken place. The first stage is called Old Saturn, and was before time began, in a condition called duration, where there was only inwardness. But this condition needs to be described as though it is in time, if it is to be understood. Now here mighty spiritual beings called thrones, or spirits of will, offered up in sacrifice to higher beings, part of their own being in the form of will substance, which now had independent existence. So we can say that this is the very first beginnings of present-day human beings, of which we can speak of. This allowed further beings called the Kyriotades, or spirits of wisdom, to pour their life into this chaotic will substance, and they thereby evolved further and brought order to the will substance. In this way, they could also experience their own life, which was reflected back to them through this will substance. Just like when we look at ourselves in a mirror, our image is reflected back to us. Through these processes, the germinal human being gradually evolved. Further spiritual beings of a lower order called dynamis, or spirits of movement, poured out their astral bodies so that they interpenetrated the will substance of old Saturn. In this way, the Dynamis experienced their own feeling life being reflected back to them. An astral body has the attributes of consciousness, antipathies, feelings, and sensations. With the activities of these beings, the will substance evolved further into soul warmth. And this is something which we can all relate with when we feel a warmth to another person. Old Saturn now had the appearance as being an ensouled being, radiating sympathies, sensations, and life into cosmic space. Beings called the spirits of form, or exousiae, now divided up this gigantic ensouled being into many individual, seemingly living beings, whereby old Saturn now appeared from the outside as a conglomerate of many individual soul beings. But in reality, this was just only the expression of the soul life of those beings who were working from the periphery of old Saturn. This gave the opportunity for further beings called the spirits of personality or archai to unite with these beings of soul warmth, and they thereby gave them the appearance of being human personalities. The spirits of personality also reached the human stage, which means they basically became aware of themselves as individuals, just as we became aware of ourselves during this earth stage. We feel we're an I. Now their I, or feeling of I-ness, was reflected back to them by the interplay of soul warmth, which now evolved further, and it became externalized into physical warmth, and then dissolved again. Now this physical warmth was now subjected to the appearance of time and physical laws. In a way, we can call these spirits of personality or archai time spirits, because in a sense, they were time. Now, these warmth bodies began to shimmer with light here and there, thus enabling further beings called archangels or fire spirits to commence their work. Now, these beings only at that stage had an astral body, and hence had some similarity to the present-day animals, and they were able to evolve and develop further in this shimmering light. Through their work, the first beginnings of our present-day sense organs came about. The archangels only had a picture consciousness, which is very similar to our present-day dreaming consciousness, but it was actually more connected with the outer realities, or corresponding to outer realities. And behind all the activities of these beings, other higher beings were working in the background, directing these activities. Now surging sensations of taste arose within old Saturn, sweet, sour, bitter, and so on. And this thus allowed further beings called the sons of life, or angels, to become active. The angels, who at this stage only possessed etheric bodies, were similar to our present plant kingdoms, and interacted with the surging forces of taste. Through this interaction, a type of metabolism, which consisted of nutrition and elimination, came about. Their consciousness was that of deep, dreamless sleep, similar to our plants. Through their interactions with the germinal human warmth beings, they expressed their own life. Now you may have gathered that all these spiritual beings which I've mentioned at the present day they have a higher consciousness than humanity has today. And in fact, they are guiding humanity's life at the moment. But at that stage, they also evolved up to their present stage. Now, through the further actions by the thrones, the forms of these germinal human beings became more defined and developed to the point of having the consciousness of our present-day minerals. Now, Atma is a principle which is where in the far distant future we will have consciously transformed and spiritualized our physical bodies. The seed of Atma was now embedded into these germinal human beings. Now, with the rise of a civilization, its karma also says it has to fall or decay. So as with old Saturn, with its beings, having now completed its required growth and evolution, it could no longer continue to support further progress. So now it dissolved into a seed-like form called Pralaya, where it would rise again or incarnate again into a new form. So old Saturn can be looked on as the scene of the evolution of numerous spiritual beings, including the present-day ancestors of human beings. In the next video, I'm going to speak about old Sun, where our ancestors now developed from the mineral into a plant-like condition, similar to our plants, or similar to what the angels experienced on old Saturn. Thank you.